that's a little bit what I've done over the time I've been prosecuting. Let me tell you about some of the things I believe in. First and foremost, and I learned this from Dan Chichester, the prosecutor has to be the best lawyer in the courtroom. There is no excuse for walking into a courtroom and being out-lawyered when you're on the prosecution side. If a case is lost, there's no second chance. There's no appeal for the Commonwealth. There's no explanation you can give a victim when a case is lost, not because of the facts of the case, but because the prosecutor didn't prepare or the prosecutor wasn't up to the job. And I can tell you that when I walk into the courtroom, I'm the best lawyer in that courtroom every single case. I believe that prosecutor, first and foremost, is a minister of justice. I have a reputation for being a tough prosecutor, but I also have a reputation of being a fair prosecutor. And I think I exercise both roles equally well. As a prosecutor, we have to be mindful of a defendant's constitutional rights. We have to be mindful of a victim's rights. And I think it's especially important as a prosecutor to weigh all the considerations that go into the most difficult job. And I think that at the end of the day, when people speak about the job that I do in the courtroom, they will say that Eric Olsen is a tough prosecutor and he's a fair prosecutor, and truly he is a minister of justice. I believe in accountability. We all learn lessons when we're 5 years old, and each one of us here, and all of us in this community have learned this lesson. It's that lesson about doing bad stuff. We learn that if you shouldn't do something bad, and if you do something bad, you're going to get caught. And if you're going to get caught, you're going to get punished. And if you're going to get punished, it's going to be bad. And with so many criminals, they spend their lives unlearning that lesson. They unlearn the first lesson real quick. You learn when you're 5 years old that if you do something bad, you're going to get caught. Because usually when you're 5 and you do something bad, you do get caught. But these criminals, they unlearn that lesson. Because time and time again, they commit crimes and they don't get caught. And by the time they finally get caught, they come into court, and you have a lawyer standing up talking about how they've never been in trouble before. And the defendant knows he's been doing it for the last 10 years. It's just the first time he's been caught. And let me tell you what happens with that. They unlearn that lesson about punishment and accountability. And I believe that this system of criminal justice has to be about accountability. If there's no accountability for individuals committing crime, it does not deter future criminal conduct. They're going to keep doing it. We all know that if there's no punishment that corresponds to a crime, that there's no disincentive to commit that crime. And so I believe in accountability, and one of the things that I have been doing and will continue to do is hold criminals accountable for their conduct. I believe victims needed to be treated with compassion and respect. All victims, regardless of the case. A wise prosecutor talked to me years ago about our criminal justice system, about what happens every day. People that understand the system know that on any given day in district court, a prosecutor can have 20 or even 30 cases. And they can be from serious robbery charges to driving while intoxicated charges or assault and battery charges. And you may have that assault and battery charge, and it may look like just another routine case to you, a case to you that looks like any other that you've tried that week or that month or that year. But let me tell you, that day in court is probably the most significant thing that has ever happened to that victim of that assault and battery. It is the biggest thing that has ever happened to them. And as prosecutors, we all need to be mindful that what looks like a routine case for us is probably the biggest thing that has ever happened to the life of those victims. And all victims needed to be treated with accountability, with respect, and with compassion. And finally, I believe in the jury system. The criminal justice system in this country is absolutely amazing. We ask our citizens to participate in that branch of government. There's no other branch of government where citizens have such a direct participation. And in Virginia, we're unique. As we all know, defendants have a right to ask for a jury, but in Virginia, it's our constitutional right, it's in our Constitution, that the judge has a right to ask a case be tried before a jury. And the prosecutor has a right to ask that case be tried in front of a jury. I've tried many jury trials, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you there is no better arbiter of justice than 12 citizens chosen at random as to come into court and take a day off and decide the facts of the case and administer justice. I believe in the jury system, and I tell you, I've tried a lot of cases, and I learned something new every time I try a jury case before the citizens of Stafford County.